Hey, I'm Jason, and what I'm about to tell you is something so brutal, it feels like it should be fiction. It all began months before my mom passed away after her 8-month battle with pancreatic cancer. Things between my wife Jessica and me started to feel different. Not the usual arguments or stress from caregiving, but something colder, something secretive. She'd get texts at weird hours, and her face would light up in a way it hadn't for me in years. 3 weeks before Mom's funeral, I stumbled on something that made my blood run cold. I was helping Jessica with her laptop when I accidentally opened her messages. There, in black and white, were months of conversations between her and my brother Michael. They weren't just talking, they were planning. Secret meetings while I was at the hospital with Mom, whispered promises about starting fresh when this is all over. But the message that destroyed me? Jessica writing, "Jason's so focused on his mom, he has no idea we're planning his whole life without him." Michael's response? "By Christmas, the house will be sold and we'll be gone. He'll never see it coming." My hands were shaking as I read more. They'd been having an affair for over 2 years, since before Mom even got sick. This wasn't some grief-fueled mistake. This was a calculated betrayal, and I was the target. But here's the part that broke me completely. They were planning to sell our family home after Mom passed. The house I grew up in, the house Mom wanted to leave to Michael and me together. Jessica had convinced Michael to forge documents that would cut me out of the inheritance entirely. Anger surged through me like electricity, but confusion kept me silent. How long had they been playing me? How many family dinners, how many holidays, how many moments had been lies? Then came the funeral. The service was beautiful. Mom would have loved seeing the whole family together, everyone sharing stories about her. But I kept catching glances between Jessica and Michael, little smirks, hidden touches when they thought no one was looking. After we said our goodbyes at the cemetery, everyone gathered at my childhood home for the wake. The house was packed with relatives, Mom's friends, neighbors who'd watched Michael and me grow up in this very place. I needed air. I stepped outside onto the back porch where Michael and I used to catch fireflies as kids. That's when I saw it. Jessica was pressed against the garage door, my brother's hands in her hair, kissing her like his life depended on it. Not just some quick moment of comfort. This was passionate, desperate, intimate. This was two people who'd been doing this for a long time. The man who was supposed to have my back through everything, betraying me in the cruelest way possible, on the day we buried our mother. My world collapsed right there on Mom's back porch. But here's the thing. I didn't explode. I didn't yell or cause a scene while everyone was grieving. Instead, something cold and calculating took over. If they wanted to play games, I'd learn the rules. I quietly went back inside and started watching. Really watching. The way Jessica avoided eye contact with me but kept glancing at Michael. The way Michael suddenly became very interested in, quote, helping with the estate paperwork. The way they both disappeared for 20 minutes during a wake and came back looking disheveled. Over the next week, I became a detective in my own life. I installed a hidden camera app on the tablet we shared. I went through old credit card statements and found charges for hotels on days Jessica claimed she was shopping with friends. I found receipts for jewelry I'd never seen her wear. But the smoking gun came when I discovered Michael's plan to have Mom's house appraised without telling me. He'd already contacted a real estate agent about a quick sale and had been forging documents to make himself the sole heir. They weren't just having an affair. They were systematically stealing my inheritance and planning to disappear with it. 2 weeks after the funeral, I confronted Jessica, not with screaming or accusations, but with a simple question. How long have you and Michael been planning to steal everything from me? The color drained from her face like someone had pulled a plug. She tried to deny it, but I showed her the evidence. Screenshots of their messages, the forged documents, the hotel receipts, everything. She broke down completely, sobbing as she confessed. It started as emotional support during Mom's illness, she claimed, but I knew better. The timeline in their messages proved they'd been together for years. "Michael said you'd never fight for the house," she cried. "He said you were too weak, too focused on being the good son to ever stand up for yourself." That's when I realized this wasn't just about an affair. This was about my own brother thinking so little of me that he believed he could steal my life piece by piece and I'd never fight back. But here's what Michael didn't count on. Losing Mom had already broken me in ways that made their betrayal feel almost small in comparison. I'd already lost the most important person in my world. What was losing a cheating wife and a backstabbing brother on top of that?
"You can have each other," I told Jessica calmly, "but you're not getting Mom's house, and you're not getting anything else that belongs to me." The legal battle that followed was ugly but short. Michael's forged documents fell apart under scrutiny, and the lawyer Mom had actually used confirmed that the house was left to both of us equally. Jessica's affair, documented in their own messages, meant she got almost nothing in the divorce. The best part? Michael's plan backfired spectacularly. He thought he was going to run off with Jessica and a big payday. Instead, he got a cheating scandal that destroyed his reputation in our hometown, legal fees that bankrupted him, and a relationship built on betraying family. Jessica moved in with Michael after our divorce was final. Last I heard, they'd broken up 6 months later when the reality of what they'd done sank in. Turns out, relationships built on lies don't last long when the excitement of the secret is gone. As for me, I kept Mom's house, not because I needed the space, but because it was what she wanted. Every family holiday, every birthday, every important moment of my childhood happened in those rooms. Michael thought he could steal that history from me, but some things can't be bought or sold. 3 years later, I'm not the same person who walked into Mom's funeral thinking he knew who he could trust. I'm stronger, more careful, but also more grateful for the people who've proven they deserve my trust. I started a support group for people dealing with betrayal during grief. Turns out it's more common than you'd think. Predators often strike when people are most vulnerable. I traveled to places Mom always wanted to visit. I learned to cook her recipes so I could pass them down someday. I adopted her elderly dog, Rusty, who gives me more loyalty in one day than Jessica and Michael showed in years. Most importantly, I learned that betrayal doesn't have to destroy you. It can show you who you really are when everything else is stripped away. Michael and Jessica thought I was weak, thought I'd be too broken by grief to fight for what was mine. They were wrong. Grief didn't make me weak. It made me understand what actually matters. Family isn't about blood or marriage certificates. It's about showing up, being honest, and having someone's back when they need it most. By that definition, I lost a wife and a brother, but I never really had them in the first place. Today, I'm dating someone who knew Mom before she passed, Sarah, who was one of Mom's nurses during her final months. She saw me at my worst, covered in grief and exhaustion, and somehow still wanted to get to know me better. That's the difference between real love and what I had before. Real love doesn't require secrets, lies, or stealing from the people you trust most. The house where I grew up is full of laughter again. Sarah's 2 kids treat me like I've been their stepdad forever, and we're talking about making it official. Mom would love seeing kids running through these rooms again, hearing the sounds of a real family. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if Michael and Jessica had just been honest with me from the start. Maybe we could have found a way to end things without the betrayal, without the lies, without destroying decades of family history. But then I look at the life I've built from the ashes of their betrayal, and I realize their dishonesty was the best thing that ever happened to me. It freed me from a marriage built on lies and showed me who my brother really was beneath the surface. Most importantly, it taught me that betrayal can break you, or it can be the fire that rebuilds you stronger than before. I chose to rebuild. And every morning when I wake up in Mom's house, surrounded by people who actually love me, I know I made the right choice.